So yesterday night, I was having dinner with a good friend of mine who's like pretty close to Wim Hof. And it was a really long and heartfelt discussion about, how difficult all this is because we both agree that Wim is like a really impressive and ultimately pretty good person. And, I sort of started feeling like maybe I had, maybe I'm too hard on him. Like maybe, there is, this is a really difficult thing. And maybe I am, pushing too hard on this. And there's the question of responsibility. And there are some sort of like gray areas here. And this is a very difficult story to report, and a lot of people are very angry at me. You read the comments, and there's this like one comment that pretty much everyone repeats over and over again. And the comment is that, what about these people's personal responsibility? It's clear from all of the videos that, from all of the warnings that you should never do this in water, common sense would dictate that these people who have died are, somewhat responsible, for their own actions. And, I don't disagree with that. But here's what I've been thinking is, what about Wim's personal responsibility? If you're going to say that people have responsibility to not do something on water, then why does Wim teach this in water, which is really what my video is about? And then, I felt very conflicted last night. I was thinking about this a lot. And then this morning, I saw a video. Someone sent me a video of yet another person who is drowned doing the Wim Hof method. And there was yet another one incident on the second and an incident on the fourth. And the second, a man died doing breath hold retentions in water for what he says are health and wellness. And I'm trying to get more information on that, but it really looks like the Wim Hof method from the reporting that's out there. I'll get confirmation soon, but I'm about 95% sure that this person was doing breath work in water. And the second one, this case out of Utah, and this happened just 2 days ago. 2 days ago, someone was at a pool with the family, did hyperventilation water, and drowned. And I'm going to show you this clip that it's just the news clip. And you can go see this news clip and you can tell me what you think. Here.
We got together for a 4th of July celebration yesterday where Kylie jumps in to exercise.
He goes in, he's got his goggles on, he's ready to do his regimen.
Family says he was scuba certified and enjoyed practicing breathing exercises underwater, a method called Wim Hof.
My sister even saw somebody asked her about it, and she said, he's just doing his thing. He's doing his thing.
It wasn't until 10 minutes later that a nephew,
he said, Grandpa, somebody's down there. A man is down there.
Family members pulled him out, tried CPR, but nothing worked.
Everybody was in shock.
They're now encouraging all of us to make sure we know what swimmers are practicing in the water and have 1 or 2 people designated to watch out at all times.
You don't just watch out for kids. You watch out for everybody. You watch out for adults because it can happen to anybody, and obviously it did.
Now the family is still waiting for autopsy.
Okay, so there we are. There we are. It was this guy has been practicing this for a long time. It's part of his regular regimen to do his breathing exercises. No one in his family thought this was weird at all. He, tries to practice breath hold. He hyperventilates above the water, does the Wim Hof method, and drowns at a pool. It's the exact same story as what happened with Andrew Encinas several months ago. Okay. This is a real thing. I'm not making this up. These are cases that are happening over and over again. There is clearly miscommunication at the very least. There's a branding problem, and warnings are not enough. Wim needs to stop teaching this. There needs to be some sort of, there needs to be some sort of real, cogent communication to never do this in water. And Wim Hof's brand, the brand itself, is sort of broken. right? It's just sort of broken. I'm going to show you another one. Here's the other case that I'm looking at. How do we do this here? Boom, boom. Okay, here's this other one. Let me just get this in the right place. Man, hotel worker dies, stunt gone wrong at luxury pool resort. Hotel worker died after suspected breathing stunt in the pool. How it went wrong. Is that showing correctly? Sorry, these screens are sort of hard to do. Here's the most important thing. It is believed that the Spaniard regularly practiced the technique, which it is claimed to boost health and well-being. They spotted in the pool after he tried to hold his breath for an extended time. Now, that's what I have from this article. There's not much more. I've contacted the police. I've been trying to get more information about this specific incident, but I don't have it yet. I just don't have the full report, but I think I will very soon. And how many other health and wellness breath hold water techniques are out there? Like, I only know of one, and it's the Wim Hof method. And I am 95% sure that this 31-year-old Spaniard on July 2nd of this year was doing that. And I think in both these cases, what's really, really, really important to note is that they had been practicing this for a long time. It was a sort of a normal part of the routine, and then at one point it just sort of blew up. They made a mistake and died. And people in the comments on Reddit say this. People on my YouTube channel, they're like, hey, I've done this in the water and I didn't know it was dangerous. And many of you who are in the comments say, look, it's stupid. These people are stupid. They're breaking the rules, and therefore it wasn't the Wim Hof method. And that's bananas to me. That just doesn't make sense, because even if you say that because someone died, that it's not the Wim Hof method, and you say that the litmus test is that they died, therefore it wasn't, right? You basically absolve any deaths at all. And if we want to talk about personal responsibility, then what is Wim and Interfire's personal responsibility here? You can't just say it's the people who died at personal responsibility. You also have to say that it is the teacher has some responsibility. Otherwise, I can teach whatever I want, right? Otherwise, I can teach absolutely anything. And you're like, well, you should have known better. You shouldn't have talked to Scott, because Scott told you something that could get you killed. Russian roulette's a great game, but everyone knows Russian roulette's a really bad thing. But if someone dies by Russian roulette and you taught them to do that, it's an issue. And I just want to know how many people are supposed to die before we say, okay, enough is enough, right? Here's my sheet. Here's my sheet. Boom. Okay, we've got sorry. Get that looking right. Okay, here's the sheet. We have unnamed, Dylan Casey, another unnamed person, Luke Duker, Yoav Timmer, Aaron Pappas, Andrew Encinas, David Jenkins, Denzel Go, Chung Meng, Christopher Kuhlhoven, Matthew Racine, Madeline Metzger, Mike Gray, a 31-year-old Spaniard, and Kyle Hansen. Those are the cases I found. We're at 15 names. When I put the video out, we were at 13 names. Okay, that was a week ago. These are the other cases that are also here. Josh Watskin, he's famous. He's a chess prodigy. Dan Rockwell, he had a seizure and then was hospitalized. Hamish Jameson drowned and then was rescued. Spent, I think, 8 weeks in the ICU. I might be wrong on that. Jean-Marc Vallée, he was a famous movie director, drowned, had a heart attack. There are some questions about that one, though, I have to say. Kelly Poole died doing a similar breath work in the pool, maybe if not Wim Hof method. Steve Gadd's wife, I don't know her name, but I know Steve Gadd. He contacted me over Facebook. She had a seizure and was hospitalized. There's another, this is an unknown, I'm not so sure about that case. David Jones, near drowning and rescued. He contacted me right after the piece came out, sent me these long letters about how Interfire just didn't really care or react to his near drowning. And then Christian Sakaro, he just contacted me 2 days ago. No, he sent me the confirmation today that he drowned in water and was rescued and spent several weeks in ECMO life support. These are real things. And it's only getting worse. And I just want to know from the people who are in this chat and the people who are commenting on this and saying that I'm just making this stuff up, how many deaths is too many, right? We have 15 and apparently people don't care. We had 2 this week and apparently people won't care. They're going to say that I'm on the attack and that I'm the on the attack journalist, and that is just what I do because I'm a yellow journalist, and look how many lives Wim has saved. Okay, well, what if it was 20 people? What if it was 50 people, 100 people, 1,000 people? How many people do we actually have to have drown doing this method before the majority of Wim Hof instructors like, hey, no, actually there is a real problem? I want people to put a number in the chat to say how many people are supposed to die before we take this seriously, before Inner Fire takes us seriously. And maybe there's no number. Maybe it's 1 million. Maybe it's every person who does the Wim Hof method has to drown before we take this seriously. And I do believe the method is great. And I do believe Wim is an awesome person. And I have always liked him. That doesn't mean that you can't look at this rationally and say and realize that there's real things that are happening. You have to walk the walk that you do, and with great power comes great responsibility. As you get more popular, as you get more powerful, as you become more noticed, you have responsibility to the people who follow you. And that is just that's my opinion, man, but I think it's a fact. I think that when you are very powerful and people hang on every word, your words have to be taken with more care. And Wim is not doing that. And so this guy I was having dinner with yesterday asked me, what could be done to fix the method, right? What could be done? Like what actions need to happen to make, from Inner Fire to make it better? And I really had trouble with this because it's not just putting warnings on the website, right? We already have warnings. There's an issue with sort of, it's so deep, it's so much at a core of the method because the branding of the Wim Hof method conflates water work and breath work from the very fact that he started by swimming under the ice, and that's like his Guinness World Record that everyone loves. That needs to change. We need to, and I think Wim is, honestly, it's part of it is just fame. Part of it is just Wim is too famous. He's not just some random dude talking about ice work and breath work, right? It's that it goes out to millions of people. Wim needs to explicitly say that hyperventilating water can be deadly. That's one thing, obviously, that needs to happen. But the other thing is he needs to stop conflating it. Right? It needs to be stopped conflating from the very brand's essence. Yes, talk about the health benefits, talk about the endotoxin experiment, talk about other things that are related to the good things about the method, but stop with the stunts. I know the stunts look great on YouTube. I know they're going to get clicks. I know they inspire people, but the stunts are also urging people to push past their limits, right? It's urging people to try to be like these superhumans, which is not really what the benefits of the method are. The benefits are anxiety. The benefits are autoimmune. It's not to make you superhuman. So stop with the conflation. Emery Memis just wrote in the chat, 1 is an accident, 2 is fate, 3 is a pattern, and we've got 15. So what's 15? 15 is like an epidemic? I'm so conflicted because I really, really love this method. I practice it. I love my interactions with Wim. I don't think we'll ever be friends again, but I have learned a lot from him. I've written books that, done well. They've been the cornerstones of my career. And I appreciate the great gifts that he has given the world and to me, and like shown me to become a greater and like sort of more awesome in a lot of ways. And I have so much love for that. But you can't be crazy. You can't put this person on a pedestal, and because fame becomes a sort of a mental illness, and Wim Hof is not cut out for that abject fame. And if we have 2 people dying just this week, how many other people have died? How many people have I not found because they haven't generated a news report in the Sun that then was forwarded to me by someone who was watching for it? I don't have like Google alerts that are scrolling this. I mean, that's a really rare occurrence to generate a news report. I mean, I sort of expect to get 50 names on this. I mean, I already have 27 events, not 27, 25 events that are basically deadly. There's got to be 50. Maybe there's 100. Maybe there's 200. How many people are found drowned in a pool and they don't have a keyword that says Wim Hof Method? Maybe it just says held their breath in a pool. Maybe there wasn't some sort of other warning. Ethan Johnson, I haven't read his comment, but there's a lot of question marks, and I'll read it right now. What's your plan on raising awareness about this effectively? Do you think Wim or Inner Fire will feel pressure to make any meaningful changes? It's a shame women isn't communicating with you anymore. My plan is, I don't have a plan, man. I wish I did. I was telling my friend at dinner last night that I have a duty to put this information out there, but I also totally expect that I'm going to fail. I expect that this whole mission that I'm on is not going to raise the awareness that it needs to in order to stop more deaths. I think that Inner Fire will obfuscate, and I think that people will hate me for raising this because I've undermined their guru. And it is a shame that Wim isn't communicating with me anymore, because I'm probably one of the only rational people that has ever been in his inner circle who's actually given him warnings about this. It is a true shame, because I have looked at him as a good friend until probably about January of this year. And then in January, he made it very clear. He went out in front of all the Wim Hof Method instructors and called me evil. And at that point, I knew that Wim and my relationship was basically over. And when someone says evil's a really interesting term because it's very religious, right? It's not like, he called me, he doesn't like what I'm doing or thinks I'm off the path or something like that. Like, evil is very black and white and religious. And it just sort of like made me think that I'm, he's broken, I guess. I mean, he's not seeing reality, and he's so scared of losing something huge, right? His, millions of followers. I worried before that he would be a cult leader, and I think that he is something like a cult leader now. I mean, it's not like Jonestown or something like that, right? It's not like he's not the Mansons, but the definition of cult leader is undue, like respect for an authority figure. It's like something unearned respect with that, undue trust put into somebody, and that's sort of like where Wim is. Like, and people have said, I've posted recently some shorts talking about Wim Hof's enema and how he abandoned his children and his alcoholism recently, and they feel, even when I look at them, I'll be honest, I do cringe slightly, because it does feel like very personal. It's like, why am I putting this out there? And the reason why I think it's important to do that is twofold. One, a lot of people haven't watched the video, so they don't know what I'm talking about. So you need to get these messages into the world. And the other thing is, like, his message is like a health and fitness guru, not a chain smoking, drunk family abandoner. And those end up being important parts of who he is. And if you want to love Wim, and you want to love what he does, you have to sort of love the whole thing. You don't just love the image that he presents. And so this guy I was having dinner with last night, who is friends with Wim and chats with Wim, was saying, his own wife had died tragically. And he looked to Wim's story and said, look, it gave me so much strength to see that Wim used the ice and breath work to get over his wife's death. And it really, really helped him become a stronger and better person. That image was really useful to him. And then when he sees my videos and realized that his wife died, and then he abandoned his family and sort of went off the deep end, it sort of undermined his the image that he had created of women. He was in sort of this spot where he was like, on one side, I want to believe in the indomitable Iceman. And on the other side, there's this truth that undermines everything. And how do we reconcile that? He wants to he did get strength from that fake story. And yet reality, is real. My feeling is that we need both. We need both ahead of us at all times. Like, we need to be able to see the truth and maybe love an image of what could be out there. But if you're basing your belief on something which is a known lie, then your belief doesn't have basis in reality. You could just believe in anything. You could believe in any story. You could have a cartoon. But when we take a man and we see that they lie, and then we follow that lie, what is that? Is that a religion? Is that what it is? Is this like sort of, is this just blind faith? And what happens when a real human is the target and the subject of blind faith? Well, it turns out that what you get is you get a lot of people who cannot look at reality. You get a lot of people who, when bad information comes out about someone like Wim Hof, you have them say, Scott, you are betraying us because you are telling the truth. And we do not want to see the truth because the myth, the lie, is more important than the truth. And I think lying ultimately shouldn't get us anywhere. There is this concept, and I write about this in the Enlightenment Trap. There's something called upaya, right, which is called skillful means, which is a part of that the crazy wisdom tradition, where a Buddhist or enlightened lama, an enlightened teacher, will say, look, I can lie to my followers. I can use a magic trick to make them think that there's a miracle, because that will lead them onto the true path of enlightenment. And it's actually sort of a Sanskrit idea that lying is okay to lead someone to spiritual progress. When I see upaya, all I have seen is you've created cultish groups that reinforce lying, and they get totally disconnected with reality. And then you get people meditating to death on mountaintops. You get people drowning in pools. And then when there are these false consequences, everyone jumps to protect the guru because of upaya. Mark Carlo, Wim, this is the comments. Wim is a prime example of beware of false prophets. Take care, everyone. Practice yoga in a class instead and steadily make progress instead of being forceful like Wim. Here's this other thing about Wim that came up in my conversation last night. He has some special things about him, and he is very, very childlike. He's got one of the beauties of Wim, and people want to protect Wim. One of the beauties of him is that he has this childlike wonder about everything. He is courageous, like the way a child is, and puts risk, to the back of his mind. He just goes for it. And then their parents look at the child and they're like, oh no, we have to rein him back a lot. But we've actually made the child a guru. And one of the other things that when I started thinking about how childlike Wim is, one of the most impressive things about Wim, it's not something that I've written about all that often, is that he acquires languages almost instantly. When he went to Poland, apparently he learned Polish in 11 days. He knows Sanskrit somewhat. He knows Hindi somewhat. He knows English. Honestly, even that quote that he gave to me, when I responded, he said, you keep on sending out these tendentious questions and I will not talk to you. I was like, tendentious? I've never used that word before. Tendentious, what does that mean? And he just has this vocabulary. He's Dutch. Wim can acquire languages in a childlike way, because children acquire languages really quickly. And there's something about his neurology that is very neuroplastic and has that beauty of a child and the wonder of a child. I would love to learn Wim's language methods, because I'm an American. I only know 2 languages. I know English and Hindi. And it was really, really hard for me to learn it. But then maybe his brain never did progress past childhood. Maybe there's parts of his brain that are still stuck there. And now this child is leading a movement of millions of people. And if you actually saw like an 11-year-old kid, you would be like, look, I'm not going to take all of your advice, but I recognize that you're a child and it's very cute what you're doing. But Wim is now not a child. He's obviously like a 60-something-year-old man with his big beard and whatnot. And that we have sort of, taken the wonder of what of childlike innocence, and we've grappled because we realize it's really awesome. And then we've forgotten who he is. And I think that the family of Wim, Isabel Ainham and Michael and Laura and all those people, even his wife, Erin, they're taking care of Wim, right? And they're trying to like protect him, and they're trying to put these warnings on the website, and they're trying to like, now you can't take video on Wim Hof method expeditions anymore because they don't want the true Wim's image to get out. They want to control the image, and what they're doing is they are protecting him like you would a child. And I think that if maybe, going back to how we could fix the method, maybe what we could do is just change the ultimate branding of the method. Wim may be the person to open the door to these methods, right? We can open the door and we say, hey, look, this is great. And he is the person to lead you there, and then let go of your hand and let you go through, right? Present Hof as the prophet, present Hof as the madman at the same time, and do not put him on that pedestal. And actually, that's how we fix this method. It's a deeply entrenched thing. There's going to have to be a lot of changes, but I do not want to throw the baby out with the bathwater. I want to be able to say, look, this is cool. There's cool stuff I've learned. And on the other side, we can be rational about what is happening out there. And I do think that a conversation has started because of my video. And I also think that ultimately my project will fail because people will see what I'm doing and they're just going to hate Scott Carney, because Scott Carney is the yellow journalist who's just out here for the views and to make all of the money. About all the money that I'm making, I want to show you exactly how much I have earned. I'm getting the blue beach ball of death, the rotating beach ball of death. I can't actually show you my screen. Yeah, I was going to show you how much money I've made, but inside of YouTube Studio. So you can see that I knew going into this that I wasn't going to be rich. It's moving. So weird. All right, YouTube dash. All right. Apparently it'll never go. It'll never work there. So I want to look at a couple. Oh, here we are. Dashboard. All right, watch this. Ding, ding. Yeah, see, that's what I'm getting. All right, here we are. Here we are. Scott's money. How much money has Scott earned? Wait, how do you do this? I don't even know how to look. I make so little money, I don't look at this enough. All right, here's what I've earned, Scott. Here's what Scott Carney has earned. $191 this month, guys. I'm not in this for the money. I'm in this for the truth. I'm in this to clear my reputation for having endorsed Wim, but I'm also here to say, look, we're trying to solve some real problems. Anyone who says that I'm in this because I'm some sort of callous journalist who calculated out that there was be fortunes to be made by ruining Wim Hof's reputation, look at that number and realize I've spent $5,000 to $10,000 reporting on this. Okay, Scott Carney's not getting rich. No, that's weird. That's a weird. There we are. Someone just said it's not money, it's personal. In a way, that's true, right? Brito just said it's not money, it's personal. because I'm personally invested in the Wim Hof method. I personally do the ice baths. I personally do the breath work. I personally saw the autoimmune illness revert. It is personal for me. And it's personal because I launched his career. I sold 250,000 books-ish. That means 250,000 people saw what I wrote, and then it's like, hey, and I mean, some percentage of those people started doing the method. And, maybe a certain percentage of those people drowned. Now, I don't think that all of their deaths are on my head, and maybe not even all of their deaths are on Wim's head, but I feel responsible, and we need to get the truth out. I need to get the truth out, and more importantly, Wim Hof needs to get the truth out. He needs to get over what he thinks is an attack by me and realize that I'm here to tell the truth. Someone said, Elsa Brito said, Anam effed it all up. And I think, I have really mixed feelings about Anam. One, I mean, I don't like him attacking me, like the personal stuff against me. Yeah, I don't like that. Who would, right? I don't like him calling me like a sexual predator. Yeah, okay. I don't like that stuff. But I think he is in a really difficult position because he created this business and it became very profitable. And then he saw that there were deaths, and he actually did try to put warnings, and he tried to corral his father like a child. And that is like a thing that he is wrestling with. And I don't necessarily think that I can't believe I'm saying this, I don't think that everything that Anam did was wrong. But I do think that he's too protective of this image that he wants to craft. And if he were able to admit some fault in his father, and how hard that can be if his father abandoned him for 10 years, but if he could admit some fault in his father and be honest about it, I think that maybe that would help move this method in the right direction. I don't think Wim can run his own company. And yeah, I don't think Wim can run his own company. And it's not going to be as simple as like replacing Anam, right? We need to replace the brand Wim, right? We need to put up crazy Wim, crazy flawed Wim, and all of his moles and enemas and all of that stuff. We need to put that reality into the world, and then we need to say, okay, can we still love this man? Personally, I think we can. Personally, I think there's enough good about this method that we can be like, okay, this is great. But if you don't show the flaws, you can't do that. And so, yeah, it's personal for me. I want to take my accountability in my own part of this turning into what it has been. And I think that we all need to. All of us who have done the Wim Hof method need to spread this message out there, because 2 people died this week and many more will die over this summer. One reason why I put this video out when I did is, a lot of magazines wanted to work with me, and they were hemming and hawing, and they're like, oh, I don't, we can't work with you. We can work with you. There were lawyers. There was all sorts of stuff going on. And oh my God! All right, so sorry. Ethan Johnson just wrote out that someone almost had a shallow water blackout in a pool 10 minutes ago. Right, this whole summer is going to be full of these deaths, and the reason why I published the story when I did, which is actually not smart because I should have gone out in partnership with a magazine, is because I knew that July 4th was coming and that people were going to die. Because people are going to do it in the pool. Because Andrew Encinas died on Labor Day. It's a big pool holiday. People want to show off and do things. And then we did have 2 deaths. We had a death in Glasgow, and we had a death in Utah. Torres says, let's abandon the guru. And I do think that we need to save the method and not the man. And if Wim wants to step up, become responsible, and change his ways, then we can keep him around as a teacher. And if he doesn't want to change, if he can't change, then we need to ditch him. We need to call it the icy breathing method, or whatever we want to call it, Nasheka pranayama, Nashasheka Rashaka pranayama, and Bhastrika pranayama with some cold exposure. Then we can change, right? I don't want to throw Wim off his own bus, off the bus of the credit. I want to give Wim the credit for the beautiful thing that he helped usher into the world. He didn't create it, but he helped usher it out. I want to do that. And I want to do it in a way that doesn't have more deaths. Anyway, so thank you everyone who has been here. If you want to support the channel and the work that I do, I do not want this to be like the Wim Hof Drowning channel. I know that has been that for many of you. I'm not, frankly, I want to do other things. If you want to be part of that, usher information to me, advice, whatever. This Patreon, it's a link down there. And I'd like you to consider looking at it and consider maybe $10 a week, or sorry, not a week, a month. Isn't too much to have this information out there. Totally get it if you don't want to do that. The internet is the internet is. You see what I'm doing, you see my passion, and I just, I appreciate all of you being here, and I'll continue banging at this. But I will say that the next video I'm putting out has nothing to do with all outer fire Wim Hof gate, right? The next video is about the legalization of psychedelics in Colorado, and hopefully around the United States. I am interviewing one of the lawyers who was involved with it. It's actually a pretty fun conversation. It has nothing. I don't even mention Wim Hof once, I don't think. I might mention ice baths at some point, but that will be coming down the pipeline, and you don't have to hear me yammering about this stuff, because I'm interested in a lot more stuff than this. So appreciate you being here, and until next time, I'm out from Pokey Bear LLC in Denver, Colorado.